Let me ask you something. A simple question that most people never think about. Where is your money right now? No, seriously. Stop for a second and think about it. You worked 40 years. Maybe 50 years. You saved. You were careful. You didn't waste it. You put it in the bank because that's what responsible people do. So where is it? Close your eyes and picture it. I bet you see a big, impressive building with marble columns out front. Heavy doors. Security guards. Inside that building, there's a massive steel vault with one of those big wheels on the door, the kind you see in the movies. And inside that vault, in a neat little metal drawer with your name on it, sits your money. Your savings. Everything you worked for. Safe. Protected. Waiting for you. That's a nice picture, isn't it? Makes you feel secure. Makes you feel like all those years of hard work meant something. But I need to tell you something that's going to upset you. That picture? That feeling of security? It's a lie. A complete fairy tale. If you walked into your bank tomorrow morning, let's say you walked in at 9 o'clock sharp when they open, and you said to the nice lady behind the counter, "I'd like to see my money, please. I'd like to see the actual cash," you know what would happen? She'd smile at you, politely, and she'd tell you that's not how it works. Not because she's being difficult. Not because she doesn't like you. But because your money isn't there. The vault is empty. Well, not completely empty, but close enough that it should scare you. Now, I'm not talking about some conspiracy theory cooked up on the internet. I'm not talking about a secret that the banks are trying to hide from you. This is literally, officially, how the entire banking system is designed to work. They have a fancy name for it, Fractional Reserve Banking. Sounds important, doesn't it? Sounds professional. But I call it what it really is, the great magic trick. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how the trick works. I'm going to pull back the curtain. And once you see it, once you really understand what's happening, you will never look at a bank the same way again. You'll never feel that same warm, fuzzy feeling when you drive past that impressive building with the marble columns. Because you'll know the truth. My name is your guide. This is the Wealth Fortress, and we're about to expose the biggest illusion in modern finance. Let me tell you a story. Not about banks and vaults and complicated financial systems. Not yet. First, let's go somewhere simpler. Let's go to a magic show. There's a magician standing on a stage. He's wearing a nice suit. He looks trustworthy. Professional. He's got a tall black hat sitting on a table next to him. You walk up to him. You've got 10 gold coins in your hand, coins you worked hard for, coins that represent hours of your life. You hand them to the magician. He takes them, one by one, and drops them into his hat. Clink, clink, clink. He counts them out loud. 1, 2, 3, 10. 10 gold coins. Got it. Then he reaches into his jacket pocket, pulls out a piece of paper, and hands it to you. It's a receipt. It says, "This person deposited 10 gold coins. Signed, the magician." "Don't worry," he says with a big smile. "Your coins are safe. Whenever you want them back, just bring me this receipt, and I'll give you all 10 coins. Simple as that." You believe him. Why wouldn't you? He looks professional. The building looks solid. Other people are doing the same thing. So you take your receipt, fold it up, put it in your wallet, and you go sit down in the audience. You feel good. Your coins are safe. Now, a few minutes later, another guy walks in. Let's call him Mike. Mike needs money. He wants to buy a house. He approaches the magician and says, "I need to borrow some coins. Can you lend me some?" The magician looks at Mike. Looks at his hat. He knows you just deposited 10 coins in there. He also knows something else, something very important. He knows you probably won't come back today asking for your coins. Most people don't. They deposit money and leave it there. Days go by. Weeks. Months. Years, even. So the magician does some quick math in his head. He figures, you know what? I can lend out most of these coins and this person will never know. He reaches into the hat, pulls out 9 of your 10 coins, and hands them to Mike. "There you go," he says. 9 gold coins. Pay me back with interest. Mike walks away happy. He's got his loan. Now stop right there. Let me ask you something. You have a receipt that says you own 10 coins. Mike has 9 actual coins in his pocket. So according to everyone's records, how much money exists in this economy? 19 coins. But how many coins are actually in the hat? 1. You see what just happened? The magician just created 9 coins out of thin air. Not physically, those coins don't actually exist. But on paper, in people's minds, those 9 coins are real. Mike is about to buy a house with them. Money was just created from nothing. Now, here's where it gets even crazier. Mike takes his 9 coins and goes to buy a house from a woman named Sarah. Sarah is thrilled. She just sold her house. She's got 9 gold coins in her hands. And you know what she does? She walks right back to the magician and says, "I'd like to deposit these 9 coins, please." The magician smiles. He takes Sarah's 9 coins, drops them in the hat, gives her a receipt. Now there are 9 coins back in the hat again. A few hours later, a woman named Jenny walks in. She needs a loan to buy a car. The magician looks at her, looks at his hat. He knows Sarah just deposited 9 coins. He knows Sarah probably won't ask for her money back today. So he pulls out 8 of Sarah's coins and hands them to Jenny. "Here you go. 8 coins. Pay me back with interest." Let's stop and do the math again. You think you have 10 coins. You've got a receipt that says so. Sarah thinks she has 9 coins. She's got a receipt too. Jenny has 8 actual coins in her pocket to buy her car. Add it up. What's the total amount of money people think they have? 27 coins. But look in the hat. How many coins are actually in there? 1 coin. Maybe 2 if the magician is feeling generous. The rest is just air. Numbers on paper. Promises. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's a cute story. But real banks don't work like that. Oh, but they do. This is exactly, and I mean exactly, what your bank does every single day. For every dollar you put in your checking account, the bank is legally allowed to lend out about 90 cents of it. Sometimes more. Sometimes they keep almost nothing in reserve. The law requires them to keep a tiny fraction just in case. That's where the name comes from. Fractional Reserve Banking. A fraction of your money actually stays in the vault. The rest? Gone. Lent out. It's in someone's mortgage. It's in someone's business loan. It's in someone's credit card balance. Your money isn't sitting there waiting for you. Your money is out in the world, doing laps, getting lent over and over and over again. And just like the magician's hat, the whole system works on one very fragile assumption, that we won't all show up at the same time asking for our money back. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, but so what? If I go to the ATM, the machine gives me cash. If I write a check, it clears. The system works fine. Why should I care if the money isn't physically sitting in the vault? Good question. Let me tell you why you should care. Remember that magic show? Remember the hat? The system works perfectly fine as long as everyone stays calm. As long as nobody panics. As long as everyone trusts the magician. But what happens when someone starts to doubt? What happens when a rumor spreads? Let me tell you about a game we all played as kids. Musical chairs. You remember how it works, right? 10 kids, 9 chairs. The music plays. Everyone walks around in a circle. Everyone is smiling, laughing, having fun. As long as that music is playing, everything is great. But when the music stops, chaos. Everyone scrambles for a chair. And one kid is left standing. Now imagine a version of musical chairs where there are 100 kids. And only one chair. That's the banking system. As long as the music plays, as long as everyone stays calm, as long as everyone trusts the system, as long as nobody panics, the game continues. The bank opens every morning. The ATMs work. Checks clear. Everything seems normal. But the moment people get scared, the moment doubt creeps in, the music stops. And when the music stops in the banking world, it's called a bank run. And it is the most terrifying thing you will ever see. Let me tell you what a bank run looks like. It starts with a rumor. Maybe someone hears the bank made some bad investments. Maybe there's a news story about the bank having financial trouble. Maybe it's just gossip on social media. One person gets nervous. They think, you know what? Maybe I should go get my money, just to be safe. So they go to the bank. They withdraw their savings. Their neighbor sees them. Hey, why are you taking your money out? Oh, I just heard something. Probably nothing, but better safe than sorry, you know. Now the neighbor gets nervous. Well, if they're worried, maybe I should be worried too. So the neighbor goes to the bank, withdraws their money. Then their friend sees them. And their friend tells their family. And their family tells their coworkers. Within hours, there's a line outside the bank. Within a day, there are hundreds of people, thousands, all demanding the same thing. Give me my money, now. And you know what happens? The bank can't do it, because the money isn't there. Remember the hat? Remember the magician? The coins got lent out. They're tied up in mortgages and loans and investments. The bank has your name in their computer. They have a number next to your name. But when you ask for actual, physical cash, they can't give it to you. Not if everyone asks at the same time. So what do? They lock the doors. I'm not making this up. This has happened. This has happened over and over again throughout history. It happened in 1929. People lined up outside banks for days, crying, begging, banging on the locked doors. Their life savings were in there. Money they'd worked 50 years to save. Gone. Vanished. Why? Because the bank had lent it out, and when everyone tried to get it back at once, there was nothing left. It happened in Greece just a few years ago. The government put limits on how much money you could take out of the ATM. 60 euros a day. That's it. Imagine working your whole life, having thousands in your account, and being told you can only access 60 euros at a time. It happened in Lebanon in 2022. People couldn't get their money to buy food for their children. Not because they spent it. Not because they did anything wrong. But because the bank simply didn't have it. The vault was empty. The hat had nothing left in it. And you know what's terrifying? It could happen again. It could happen tomorrow. Because the system hasn't changed. The system still runs on that same fragile assumption that we won't all ask for our money at the same time. But what if we did? What if something happened, an economic crisis, a war, a pandemic, and millions of people all decided, on the same day, I want my money, now? What do you think would happen? Now, the banks know this. The government knows this. They know the whole system is built on a foundation of confidence. Not gold. Not assets. Just confidence. That's why, whenever there's even a hint of trouble, what do? They tell you to stay calm. Don't panic. Your money is safe. The banking system is solid. Trust us. They'll trot out experts on TV. Economists with fancy degrees. Government officials with serious faces. And they'll all say the same thing, everything is fine. Do not withdraw your money. That would only make things worse. And you know what? They're right. If everyone panics, the system collapses. But here's the part they don't tell you. Even if you don't panic, your money still isn't safe. Because whether you panic or not, the money still isn't in the vault. Let me give you an analogy. You're on a boat. The boat has a leak. Water is coming in. The captain gets on the loudspeaker and says, stay calm. Don't panic. Panicking will only make things worse. He's technically correct. If everyone stampedes toward the lifeboats, people will get hurt. Chaos will make things worse. But the boat is still sinking. Staying calm doesn't fix the leak. So what do? You prepare. Quietly. Calmly. You make sure you know where the life jackets are. You have a plan. That's what smart people do. They don't panic. But they don't blindly trust the system either. Now, some of you are probably thinking, wait a minute. What about insurance? What about the FDIC? I thought our deposits were insured. You're right. In the United States, bank deposits are insured by the FDIC up to $250,000 per account. That's supposed to protect you if the bank fails. And on paper, it does. If your bank goes under and you have less than $250,000 in your account, the government promises to make you whole. But let's think about this for a second. Where does the FDIC get the money to pay you back? They have a fund. A big fund. Billions of dollars in it. Sounds impressive, right? But do you know how much money is in bank accounts across America? Trillions. With AT. If even a few major banks failed at the same time, the FDIC fund would run dry in hours. So then what happens? The government prints more money to cover it. And we're right back to the problem we talked about in video 1. When they print more money, they devalue the money you just got back. You might get your $100,000 back, but it might only be worth $50,000 in real purchasing power. You got your money, but it's not worth what it used to be. The insurance is real, but it's not a guarantee of safety. It's a band-aid on a broken system. Okay, take a breath. I know this is heavy. I know it's uncomfortable. Nobody likes finding out the system they trusted their whole life is built on quicksand. But I'm not telling you this to scare you into doing something stupid. I'm not telling you to run to the bank tomorrow and pull out all your cash and stuff it under your mattress. That's not smart either. Your house could burn down. Someone could rob you. Cash under a mattress is not a strategy. And I'm definitely not telling you to panic. Panic is for people who don't have a plan. We're not those people. I'm telling you this so you understand the risk. So you can see the system for what it really is. So you can make informed decisions about where you put your hard-earned wealth. Let me tell you about two kinds of people. The blind saver. The blind saver thinks the bank is a fortress. He thinks if he just keeps depositing his paycheck, keeps saving, keeps being responsible, everything will be fine. He puts 100% of his wealth in one place. All his eggs in one basket. He trusts completely. He never questions. He goes to sleep feeling safe because he's doing what he's supposed to do. And when the system cracks, when the music stops, he loses everything. Then there's the wise builder. The wise builder knows the truth. He knows the bank isn't a fortress. It's a tool. A utility company. It's useful for paying bills. It's useful for day-to-day transactions. It's convenient for short-term cash flow. But it's not a place to store generational wealth. The wise builder diversifies. He spreads his risk. He builds his fortress with different materials, because he knows no single material is perfect. He keeps some money in the bank for emergencies and daily expenses. Enough to live on for a few months. But not his entire life savings. He holds some physical gold. Why? Because you can't print gold. You can't create it out of thin air. It's been valuable for 5,000 years, and it'll still be valuable when the current system crumbles. He owns some land. Real estate. Physical property. Why? Because land doesn't disappear. You can't erase it with the push of a button. And as long as humans need a place to live, land has value. He holds some assets on the stone tablet, what we talked about in the last video. Digital assets that can't be censored, can't be frozen, can't be taken away by a government or a bank. He diversifies across different countries, different currencies, different systems. Why? Because he knows that the bank is playing musical chairs with his money. And when the music stops, he doesn't want to be the one left standing. The wise builder never trusts a single system with his entire future. Never. I want to tell you something. Your grandfather probably knew but didn't talk about much. Trust is expensive. Every time you trust someone with your money, you're taking a risk. Sometimes that risk is small. Sometimes it's huge. When you hand your money to a bank, you're trusting the bank employees not to steal it. The bank managers not to make idiotic investments with it. The bank executives not to gamble it away. The government not to print so much money that yours becomes worthless. The politicians not to confiscate it in a crisis. The computer systems not to glitch and lose your records. The internet not to go down. The electrical grid to keep working. That's a lot of trust. And you know what the bank gives you in return for all that trust? 0.5% interest if you're lucky. Sometimes less. Sometimes they charge you fees just for the privilege of letting them use your money. Think about that. You're taking all the risk. They're taking almost all the profit. When they lend out your money to someone buying a house, they charge that person 7% interest. Maybe 8%. Maybe more. But they give you 0.5%. The difference. That's their profit. They're making money with your money, and they're giving you crumbs. And if something goes wrong, if they make bad bets, if the system collapses, you're the one who suffers, not them. The CEO still gets his bonus. The executives still get their golden parachutes. The government bails out the bank with your tax dollars. But you lose your savings. That's the deal. That's what you're agreeing to every time you deposit your paycheck. Is it worth it? For some money, yes. For everyday spending, yes. But for your life savings? For the money you worked 50 years to accumulate? Is it really worth trusting all those people, all those systems, all those computers for 0.5%? So what's the solution? What should you actually do? First, educate yourself. You're doing that right now by watching this. Keep going. Learn how money works. Learn how the system actually operates. Don't just trust what they tell you on TV. Second, diversify. Never put all your wealth in one place. Spread it out. Different baskets. Different assets. Different countries if you can. Keep some money in the bank for convenience. But not everything. Buy some physical gold or silver. Something you can hold in your hand. Something that's been valuable for thousands of years. Own some real estate if you can. Land. Property. Something physical that can't disappear. Consider learning about the stone tablet, what we talked about in the last video. Digital assets that you control, that nobody can freeze or confiscate. Third, have an emergency plan. What would you do if the ATM stopped working tomorrow? What if you couldn't access your bank account for a week, a month? Do you have some cash at home? Not your life savings, just enough to buy food and gas for a couple weeks? Do you have supplies? Food, water, the basics. I'm not saying become a doomsday prepper living in a bunker. I'm saying be prepared. Smart people have contingency plans. Fourth, talk to your family. Make sure they understand this too. Especially if you have adult children who are just starting to save money. Teach them young. Don't let them make the same mistakes of blind trust. And fifth, and this is important, don't panic, but don't be complacent either. The system might keep working for years, decades, even. The music might keep playing. The magic trick might keep fooling people. But it might not. And when it stops, it'll stop fast. The people who prepared will be fine. The people who trusted blindly will lose everything. Which one are you going to be? Let me bring this home. You worked hard for your money. 40 years. 50 years. Maybe more. You sweated. You sacrificed. You did without things you wanted so you could save for the future. That money represents your time. Your life. Hours you can never get back. And right now, most of it is sitting in a system that's built on illusions. On magic tricks. On the hope that everyone won't ask for their money back at the same time. Is that really where you want your life's work to sit? Look, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not telling you to do anything specific with your money. That's your decision. But I am telling you to open your eyes. The bank is not a vault. The money is not sitting there waiting for you. The system is fragile. And the people who realize this early, who prepare, who diversify, who build their fortress with strong materials, those are the people who survive when the music stops. The world is changing faster than ever. The old rules don't apply anymore. The system your grandparents trusted? It's not the same system today. Wake up. Look around. See things as they really are, not as you wish they were. And then build your fortress accordingly. But for now, I want you to think about one question. If the music stopped tomorrow, would you have a chair? My name is your guide. This is the Wealth Fortress. Subscribe. Verify everything I've told you today. Don't just take my word for it. Look it up yourself. And let's keep building. Because the fortress that survives is the one built on truth, not illusions.